Rise for allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And could you please call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Present.
Trustee Rogers? Present. Trustee Suisse?
Present.
Trustee Christina?
Present.
Trustee Darian?
Present.
Mayor Yurvich?
Present. Okay. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to, I have an amendment to the agenda. I'd like to move I-10, the planning resource, to the first one, I-1.
All right.
Because one of the principals are here.
Okay.
I'll second.
Roll call? Okay. Andrew, please call the roll. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Number one. Okay, there's no minutes to be approved for tonight, so we can move to F. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable period of March 25th, 2016 through April 28th, 2016? So, is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Darian?
Aye.
Trustee Christina?
Aye.
Next is reports and communications from the mayor and other offices. Village Hall renovation update. Troop contracting continues with the renovation work at the new Village Hall. Troop submits progress reports to the village that detail the work completed each day. To view these reports, visit the village's website and click on construction updates, and then click on Village Hall construction updates. This way they're giving you the pictures of where they're at, where it's been, and they're doing a wonderful job there. 15th anniversary call for photos. In celebration of the village's 15th anniversary, throughout the year, residents are encouraged to submit photos that capture the spirit of our community. Photos can reflect the past, present, or future of Homer Glen. Photos will be used in village publications, online, and in print, advertising, and marketing materials. Photos can be submitted via email to thevillage@homerglen.org or by mail to the Village Hall. For more information, please visit the village's website or call the village. The south extension of Heroes Trail. We're happy to report that work is resumed on the south extension of the Heroes Trail. The paving of the trail is anticipated to take place within the next 2 weeks. However, this is weather dependent. For those of you who are unaware, the south extension of the trail runs within a ComEd right-of-way west of Bell Road from Martingale Lane to 159th Street. This will ultimately connect the proposed bike trail that will be constructed as part of the 159th Street Improvement Project. And with that, I'm done with mine. Trustee Darian, we'll start with you.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Christine.
I have nothing to report.
Sharon.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Environment Committee, we are awaiting trees from the nursery for the spring tree planting, which should commence very soon. Just a reminder to please replace any Julied flags after mowing. Our Earth Day Arbor Day event is less than a month away, taking place on May 21 at Konos Farm, located at 168th and Cedar Road in Homer Glen. More information can be found on the website at www.earthdayarborday.info. Volunteers are needed throughout the day and community service hours are available. For more information, please contact Sue Stylen. The village phone number is 708-301-0632. New this year is an interactive traveling museum that has become one man's life's work for Lou Ayulelo. His purpose is to connect to the earth and to show that Native American culture was forged by what was available. There will be different games, drums, and rope making from natural materials. See and handle hundreds of the items that he has made. Another new exhibitor this year is Crosstown Exotics, which will be bringing a bird-eating spider, Asian forest scorpions, and a hissing cockroach, among other unusual bugs. We would like to thank the Meyer Store for choosing to be a sponsor again this year, along with Home Depot, Brett Meyer Landscaping, Apple Chevrolet, Dan Kenny Homes, New Way Homewood Disposal, and Willowbrook Ford. We would appreciate any additional sponsors for this event. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Carlo?
Yeah, I'm reporting on behalf of the Parade and Festival Committee. The fest is getting closer. It will run from Thursday, June 23rd, 2016 through Sunday, June 26th, 2016. The featured attractions, we have the Kids Fun Zone, Mr. D's Magic Illusion Show, and the Magic Sky Fireworks Show are the highlights for the Thursday night for that fest. The Kids Fun Zone will start at 6:30. It will consist of a jump and fun area for the kids. The Mr. D Magic Show will kick off at 7:30, and the fireworks will be ready to blast off at 9:30, weather permitting. I believe Friday night would be our rain date if weather does not allow us to move forward. On Friday, there's a pre-carnival party for Homer residents with children with special needs and their families. It will run from 2:30 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. on Friday, June 24th, 2016. Don't forget about the parade on Saturday morning, June 25th, 2016, starting at 11 a.m. There will be many new attractions on the parade route, starting at 151st Street, heading north to 143rd on Parker Road. There will be a wide variety of vendors from art, jewelry, in our new vendor tent, I should say, from art, jewelry, essential oils, and many others. We have live music every day featuring 10 bands between Thursday and Sunday. We are always looking for volunteers for both the parade and the fest grounds. Please contact Lindsay Soa at the Homer Township office at 708-301-0522 for more details. Please remember that your children can earn many of their community service hours throughout this wonderful event. And you can also check out the Homer Fest website at www.homerfest.com and click on the info link for more information. And we also have information at the Homer Township website at www.homertownship.com for details related to the parade and volunteering for both events. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sawyers.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the Treasurer's Report of Cash and Investments at March 31st, 2016. It's the 11th month of fiscal 16. It shows the general fund with a cash and investment balance of $4,579,968.53. Special event fund had a balance of $62,750.51. The environment fund had a cash and investment balance of $55,464.99. Motor fuel tax fund had a balance of $2,592,272.67. The land acquisition fund balance was purged into the Park and Recreation Fund. It doesn't have a it doesn't have a balance. The Park and Recreation Fund balance was $2,589,599.42. The Debt Service Fund had a balance of $1,191,739.31. And the Capital Project Fund had a cash and investment balance of $3,242,030.11. The EAB Tree Replacement Fund had a cash and investment balance of $484,617.06. The final fund, the Capital Project Bond Fund, had a balance of $15,112,273.71 for a grand total, all funds, $29,910,716.30. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Next would be, Ann, you want to report?
No, Carlo covered it.
Okay. Village Attorney?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Public Safety Officials?
No report.
And Village Manager?
No report.
Okay, moving right along. Next would be public comment could please keep it to 3 minutes, we would appreciate it. If it takes longer, it takes longer. Thank you. First up would be Lynn McGarry.
And I won't take longer. Lynn McGarry here for the Homer Township Chamber of Commerce, soon to be the Homer Glen Area Chamber of Commerce. So I'm here to ask you today to save the date for the Chamber's annual golf outing. That'll be June 9th with the tee-off time at 2 o'clock. So you can even work half a day if you really insist. So a barbecue dinner will be after for those who just won't play. And there's also quite a few ways to sponsor, so please take a look. I gave you each a flyer, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lynn. John Coy?
Probably should have passed these out before I went up there, but anyway.
I was waiting for you.
Okay. I can probably talk while I'm passing this out. It's about the Tinley Park thing with building housing, low-income housing. I can honestly say in the 50s and, not 50s, my mistake, in the 60s and 70s, I helped Chicago build low-income housing. And they, in the process, have gone to wrecking balls and destroyed them all but one. I don't think it's a good idea that we get an out-of-town company going into Tinley Park and all of a sudden saying, we're going to sue you if you don't let us build what we want to build. And it's against their codes and the rest of it. If you want any more information on it, I have it at home, and with that, I'd be welcome to give it to you if you want to read some of it, because it's not in Tinley's best interest to do what they're wanting to do. Thank you.
Thank you, John. That is it for public comment. So with that, we'll go into legislation and action items. We're going to switch number 10 to number 1. So we need a motion to approve the attached agreement with Planning Resources, Inc., PRI, for professional services related to the creation of a master park development plan for the village of Homer Glen's former Woodbine Golf Course property. It is understood that the total cost of this project is $78,900 and shall be delivered no later than October 31st, 2016.
I so move.
Subject to attorney
It's
review.
subject, yeah, oh, I don't know, that's what I'm supposed to, well,
It'll be subject to final attorney review and modification.
With that being said,
okay. So I need a motion with that.
I'll make a motion.
Steve?
I'll second.
And Sharon.
We do have someone from PRI here. Kevin, if anybody has any questions.
All right. Well, is there any other discussion though? Anyone have any questions or what's going to be going on? Or?
Well, I was just curious how long the review will take.
Actually, I just have a few questions that I need to work on. One of the questions I had was, I mean, and the board can address this, is the additional services. For example, the 319 grant and the OSTAT, those issues, whether or not this is something the village wanted to pursue or not. So.
We actually had spoke to Kevin about this earlier, and he could touch more on it if he wanted to. The reason why we didn't include it in there, and he can explain, Kevin, if you want to step up, to why we didn't include it in the proposal and why it's sort of
An
An
additional.
additional item that
right.
we'll
It
look
wasn't
at.
in the original proposal because we didn't ask for it, but it's he can explain.
Yeah, Kevin Graham, Planning Resources. We were asked to provide additional cost in order if the village wanted to pursue that. So we have provided a couple different menu items. You know, I don't think it's really imperative to approve the 319 portion of that extra portion tonight. Anyway, when you're going for a grant, first of all, we need a project. And we're doing a master plan. And I know there, you know, with the previous drainage study along the eastern portion, that would probably be that portion of the 319. You know, we can start with our kickoff meeting and work on that, and if it's decided to, okay, yes, it's appropriate, this fits in, this is what we want to do, we can look at the past documentation. There's still time to do that. The application is August 1st. We estimate it's about 40 hours of time to put that together, so we'd still have time. So I don't know that it's imperative to do that tonight.
Well, I wasn't saying one, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that.
So but just to answer, kind of recaps the question that was asked earlier, so. But I think it can still be done, and we can work that out and do that.
How long does that process take to put that application together?
Again, part of that depends on the specifics of the project and what work has already been done. And I know a fair amount of that has already been done, I believe, at least. And we're guesstimating on what we know at this point without seeing all the documents and that. Probably about 40 hours of our time to do that. It's really, a lot of it's application, some of it's documents and drawings, assembling, and the narratives, how it's crafted, and pulling different documents together, so.
Yeah, I just don't want to miss that window of opportunity.
Right.
If you're saying a week.
It's about 40 hours of time. I mean, it spans over a week, but, we would like to start on it, not the week before. I'm going to say we have done that before and successfully, but we don't like to do that. But, I think if we're starting that, beginning, middle of June, early July, we're fine.
So in terms of answering your question, do you want me to send comments or revisions or anything like that to you? Or
You send them directly to me.
Okay, let me give you my card with me. Because I can get them to you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Ann, could you please call the roll?
Carlo?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, number 1 on legislation, which is 10 brought up. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 16-010, an ordinance adopting the code of the village of Homer Glen?
I so move.
Trustee Caprio, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Sweet. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to, I believe it was mentioned, if we have any changes, this is going to be done on a quarterly basis. So if there's any updates or changes that we feel need to be tweaked, we can do that on a quarterly basis.
Right, all legislation that is approved by the board after a codification occurs will be posted on our website so that the public is able to review that legislation prior to it being codified in with the rest of the document. So on a quarterly basis, those new laws or ordinances will be codified into the entire code.
And will someone be tracking any items or changes that are in the current code book? If there needs to be updates or changes, and will we track those on a quarterly basis and have somebody responsible for that?
Well, what we plan on doing is reviewing the code, and if there are changes that are meant to occur or did not occur through the codification process, staff will be notating that, and we will draft an ordinance to amend the code to include those changes. But we will, on a quarterly basis, make sure that the ordinances that were approved within that time frame are done correctly.
Do you know if Mr. or Trustee Costa had reviewed what he wanted
I actually spoke with Trustee Costa on Monday evening, and he actually found an error, so good on him for that. I will be speaking with the codification company. What had happened was they had looked at our 2001 ordinance, the liquor ordinance, and we did an entire revision, and Mary, you can attest to that, he was part of the committee, to work on that ordinance. But there was one sentence that was left over from the 2001 ordinance that needs to be removed. So it was just just a minor error, and we'll get that removed. He had another question, I was able to answer it, and that was all of his concerns.
I just didn't want to do anything with
I
it.
wanted to make sure that he was on board with it too, so he said that he was fine with it being approved.
Okay. With that being said, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sharon? Aye. Beth? Aye. Carla?
Aye. Motion carries. Number 2, fiscal year 2016-17 budget adoption. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 16-014, an ordinance adopting the Village of Homer Glen's budget for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2016, and ending April 30th, 2017, Homer Glen, Illinois? Need a
I so
mo-
move.
Trustees, second?
I'll second.
Rogers. Is there discussion?
Was there, I know that we had the public hearing and there was nobody that had any issues with it. Did you get any feedback, email, anybody showing up, no phone calls,
I did not receive
no
any,
feedback at all?
other than Bob requesting a copy. That was it.
Another one. All right, and please call the roll.
Carla?
Aye.
Beth? Aye. Sharon?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
It sounds so weird.
Streetlight maintenance resolution. Is there a motion to approve the IDOT resolution for maintenance of streets and highways by a municipality for streetlight maintenance within the Village of Homer Glen?
I so move.
Carla?
Second.
Brian? Is there any discussion? Dan, could you please call the roll?
Beth? Aye. Sharon?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Carla?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 4, streetlight maintenance contract. Is there a motion to extend the contract with Lyons Electric companies for 1 year for streetlight maintenance within the Village of Homer Glen? It is understood that the unit cost per streetlight will remain the same.
I so move.
Carlo? Second?
I'll second.
Please. Any discussion? Yeah, clerk, please call the roll.
Carla?
Aye.
Beth? Aye. Sharon?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Number 5, Municipal Clerk's Week proclamation. Is there a motion to approve the attached proclamation designing May 1st through 7th as Municipal Clerk's Week in the Village of Homer Glen?
My copy says it is understood that Ann and Kathy will have a week off with pay. Kidding.
I know.
So moved on the first one.
Brian?
I'll second.
Okay, Beth. Is there any other discussion?
Who came up with this? Let me ask.
Actually, this is, it was provided to us by Kathy, who goes to clerk's training workshop every year. It's just a basic document saying thank you to our clerk and our deputy clerk for all the hard work that they do in trying to ensure that our ordinances, resolutions, proclamations are all kept. And that's pretty much it.
And what do we do to thank them? What is
Well, it's just, we're proclaiming that week, Municipal Clerks Week in the Village of Homer Glen.
It's a statewide initiative.
Yes.
We do a lot of proclamations for statewide stuff. We should just make them a specific day and call it a day.
It's fine with me. Okay, any other discussion? Ann, please call the roll.
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Beth? Aye. Carla?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6, intergovernmental agreement for Homer Harvest Days 2016. Is there a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Homer Glen and Homer Township regarding the administration and sharing of expenses for Homer Harvest Days 2016?
I so move.
Sharon?
I'll second.
Carlo? Any discussion?
This is similar to the agreement we had last year, so it's almost exactly the same.
Okay, with that, then, Ann, please call the roll.
Sharon?
Aye.
Beth? Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Carla?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, liquor license for Homer Community Festival 2016. Is there a motion to assign a Class J liquor license, special event license, to Homer Township Road District for the Homer Community Festival occurring June 23rd through 26th, 2016? It is understood that the 200 fee for said license will be waived by the village.
I so move.
Carl?
Second.
Brian? Discussion? And please call the roll.
Carla?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Sharon? Brian?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Motion carries. 8, February legal bills. Is there a motion to approve the February 2016 Mahoney, Silverman and Cross LLC legal bills in the amount of $5,220.75?
So moved.
Second.
Beth, Christine, is there any discussion?
I like the new format of the bills.
Good. Thanks.
Can't say I had anything to do with it, though. I was our office manager.
Okay, no discussion, and please call the roll.
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Beth? Aye. Carla?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9, Village Hall renovation bill. Is there a motion to approve the village's March professional services invoice for the Village Hall renovations from Troop Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $177,291.92?
I so move.
Carol?
Now second.
Sharon? Discussion?
This is their first, like, quote-unquote draw. So I think they've carried it for quite a while.
Yes, they have. And they're very far with it, so I'm happy that they got some money to pay some of their bills. Ann, please call the roll.
Beth? Aye. Sharon?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Carla?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we're on a workshop item. We're going to be discussing smoking lodges. Director of Planning and Zoning, Michael Schwartz, will now provide background on tonight's workshop item. The workshop is for the purpose of discussion only, and there is no motion to consider at this time. We do have a gentleman in the office, boardroom, that would like to explain what he would like to do. So, Mike, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the Village Board. This evening is just a discussion, as the Mayor indicated. We're looking for feedback and direction. We have a zoning ordinance that has, as you know, a table 2B and 2A that basically lay out the uses that are either permitted under the zoning ordinance or special uses under the zoning ordinance. And our ordinance is silent with respect to smoke shops and smoking lounges. Those terms, as they're defined in the current, as you know, we have a moratorium until July 8th. And so we're looking to update the zoning ordinance to make it to clarify things so that these types of uses that come in, whether they be the vaping shops that are often referred to, cigar lounges, any type of activity that involves smoking, whether it be traditional tobacco products or the newer e-cigarette products that are non-smoke emitting, but they're vapor emitting. So in your packet is quite a bit of information. What I'll do is just kind of summarize what I gave you in the packet. To give you an overview of the two definitions that we came up with. They're somewhat all-inclusive, meaning that a smoke shop, as we're defining it, would include the shops that are out there today. We have 6 other businesses currently in the village that sell these products currently. So we're just saying that we're either going to make them permitted use across the board in all of our C districts, our C1, C2, and C3 commercial districts. And I think that's the direction that the Administration and Finance Committee gave us on April 11th. Unless there's more discussion on the smoke shop use, the main focus tonight would be the smoking lounges. And that would, like I said, include the cigar lounges that might come in, the The shops, if someone wanted to do in a freestanding building, a vape shop with a smoking component where someone would come in and maybe sample the product. There is a lot, as you know, in some other surrounding communities, there are these types of uses out there already. So we want to just clarify it in the zoning ordinance, make sure that the village board direction is to me to either bring back a text amendment that would come back through the plan commission process, a public hearing, and then ultimately to you as the village board to make the final decision. Getting back to what's in your packet, again, we had some A&F discussion that I mentioned. We're asking for really 3 questions that I've outlined on the page 3 of the supplement sheet. Number 1 are the definitions that we've drafted for smoke shop and smoking lounge acceptable. Again, they're all inclusive. They cover anything from a hookah lounge, a cigar lounge, a vape shop, or even a vaping lounge. Number 2 is their board consensus that the smoke shop use, the retail-only type use, should be listed as a permitted use in C1, C2, and C3, as recommended by the A&F committee. And number 3, does the board wish to list a smoking lounge as a special use in only the I-1 district, or should it be listed as a special use in all of the commercial districts, the C1, C2, and C3, and I-1? Since given that the Smoke-Free Illinois Act and the village's own indoor clean air policy would regulate or relegate these types of uses to a freestanding building anyway. So for reference, we've got we reference many other ordinances of the village that are related to smoking. We've got a tobacco possession ordinance, which sets the age limits and the types of smoking objects or items that are legal in the village. We've got a tobacco licensing ordinance, which is required of all the retailers in town that sell these types of products. And then we've got the state act, which is the Smoke-Free Illinois Act. Right now, in your packet, I've included the pending legislation. There was a House Bill 2404 at the state level. It's in Rules Committee right now, so it's kind of come in and out of the Rules Committee. But it is a proposal that would update the Smoke-Free Illinois Act to clarify or codify the fact that these alternative smoking, these newer devices, which are vapor-emitting devices, would be covered under the statewide Smoke-Free Illinois Act. And that would basically, again, make sure that any new uses, such as a smoking lounge, would have to be in a freestanding building. The other thing, there are no budget implications with this. It's again just for discussion purposes. I've included the minutes from your A&F committee meeting. And like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we're really looking for direction on how you want us to regulate these. And one of the things I'll mention is that we're kind of at the forefront. In your packet is a table that my colleague, Karen Ricks, our new assistant planner, put together, researching 9 other communities in the area. And Lamont was one of the communities in the forefront that regulated basically these types of uses, or more higher regulation than some of the other, many of the other communities don't reference it, don't really deal with it. So we're a little bit on the cutting edge here. And I know that there are other communities looking to see what we're going to do in terms of either regulating these or at least acknowledging them in the definitions, again, whether they be permitted uses or special uses. There is a table in your packet that lists all the communities that were contacted and how they address these items. One thing that's not in the packet, which I'll just mention verbally, there is, as you know, we have a liquor control ordinance, and that regulates the sale of liquor within 100 feet, measured building to building, within a school, from a school. Certainly, some kind of a distance or spacing requirement could be part of this, and that could either be mentioned in the zoning ordinance and or in the tobacco licensing ordinance, if you want it, to regulate how close either a retailer or a smoking lounge could be located in terms of being from a school or from another such use. There is some concern in some communities that I've read nationwide, some of the research, as far as there being a concentration of these uses. So if you decided that you were okay with a smoking lounge in a certain zoning district as a special use, you may want to consider a distance requirement, that there not be more than, that there not be another one, say, within 1,000 feet. So that could be on the table as well. So with that, we'll just open it up for your feedback, questions, discussion.
Well, I actually have a few. The whole idea behind this is it has to be a freestanding building, so you're not contaminating air and any other parts of the building that it would be attached to if you were in a strip mall. We only have one available right now. It's a freestanding building. And I think that we should try, see how it works out before we decide if it should go at C1, C2, C3, or if it should go at industrial. We have a perfect opportunity here to allow someone to open up a cigar bar, pretty much. There would be no vape, there wouldn't be any hookahs, because it's still considered for hookah, the drug paraphernalia, vape. There's nothing to show what it does to you right now, so I don't know if I'm, but we have an empty building that's within the boundaries of the village, and if someone wants to rent it, and from the investigation I've done on the cigar stores and lounges, they do very well. It brings more people into the village, and it's contained within one building. So I don't have a problem with it. Give it a shot and see how it works out. If it works out good in C1, then we can do it again. If it doesn't, then we can go into industrial. We can do pretty much anything you want. But we have to start somewhere, because no matter what, they're going to get open. So
I have a question for our attorney. How would this affect if you open this up for a cigar lounge, and then a hookah lounge wants to come in? I mean, how can you say yes to one, and what are your legal rights to say no to another?
Well, one issue.
I mean, you're thin ice here, I think.
Well, you do have, as the mayor pointed out, you do have I don't want to say fallback position, but you do have a provision in place right now. The ordinance would prohibit, for example, the hookah pipes or the hookah equipment is viewed as drug paraphernalia, and that's not permitted in the village. So if somebody said, well, we want to do a hookah lounge instead of a cigar lounge, technically you could say, well, we're not allowing that because that equipment is prohibited in the village of Homer Glen.
Okay, let's go with vape shops then.
Vape shops or vape lounges?
Well, both shops and lounges where they sample the.
One of the benefits you do have is you are a home rule community, so obviously that means you are able to, you got a little more flexibility to be able to state that we're doing cigars, we're not doing vapes. I mean, the thing to keep in mind too when you're saying is this a problem? This is, number one, it's not free speech. So it isn't a situation where, for example, adult businesses could claim there was a First Amendment right, free speech. You've got to provide to have us. You've got to provide somewhere for us to be. This isn't free speech. So you're safe there. And second, you're not discriminating against any protected class. Smokers, it's clear, even under the ADA, smokers do not qualify as a protected class. So I don't want to say you can discriminate against them, but legally you're not required to make provisions for smokers, if you will. So I think that you can split hairs, if you will, and say we're going to cause a cigar bar, but not a vape lounge, not a hookah lounge, those kinds of things. So
and
technically, I'm not saying that's a good idea, but I'm just saying that you can do that.
And we already do sell. I mean, most of the establishments are already selling vape. And what I see, including my own son, there's so many kids that are smoking it, and there's a lot of them that are way below 18. Now, I don't know if there's a right now or not, because it's not considered it's not considered a cigarette, but it's the way that, like Eric just said, the way it's written, you have to be in a standalone building in order to have any kind of smoking in there. There's one in the village right now.
With the proper restrictions in place, I don't see an issue with it, especially with one vacant freestanding building. It would cost millions for someone to put up a building that they were going to allow this in an outlet somewhere, I would think, right?
I don't know about millions.
Oh, a million.
It'll cost them pretty, it'll cost
You
you,
don't think?
It'll be quite an investment.
Yeah, it'd be quite an investment to sell cigars.
So, I mean, all this is just discussion to see how you feel about it, if we want to bring it before the board to approve it or deny it. I believe that we have to start somewhere. And
One question or one comment I'll just add to the discussion real quick. The definition is, it's a sentence, so I'll just read it. A smoking lounge as currently defined for the moratorium, and it can change. You can tell me to change it. The smoking lounge is a business establishment that is dedicated in whole or in part to the smoking of tobacco or other substances, including but not limited to establishments known variously as cigar lounges, hookah cafes, tobacco clubs, tobacco bars, etc. Now, what you could do, as council indicated, is that you could, if you specifically did not want hookah cafes, we would, as part of the definition, say hookah cafes or hookah bars are specifically prohibited. So we would peel that back. Right now, the definition of smoking lounge is somewhat broad to cover all the different types of products.
well, the gentleman that's looking to open up in the village, we've already told him that we're not looking for the hookahs, we're not looking for vape. We're looking if you want to open up a cigar shop, that's fine. People already know what it's going to do to them. The rest of the stuff, they don't really know what vape's going to do.
So I think if I'm hearing the mayor right, he's saying to strike that, because we don't want that here.
Hookah?
Hookah.
Or
vapor,
Or
right?
vape. Well, for a vape lounge right now, let's find out what happens with it. We already know what cigars are going to do.
Yeah.
The sale of vape is already going on in the village. It's done at Speedways, it's done at all the tobacco stores. They're just not allowed to test it or sample it to see what the flavors are like.
So what I'm hearing is to, and this will come back to you for a vote, but to narrowly define smoking lounge to only include cigar lounges.
Yes.
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 And no other materials? Because
Correct.
if someone comes into a cigar lounge with cigarettes, my understanding is that that would be legal.
It would be, unless you prohibited cigars or pipes, for example.
How do we?
We actually have
How
a
do we
gentleman
monitor
here.
that?
Why don't we let him talk, and he can also give you some information on it. You want to step up, William?
I actually brought in a few pictures to give you an example of what this would look like, but I don't think I have enough, so
That's
no,
okay, we'll share.
so much.
That's what I'm sure.
Again, my name is Mike Allen with the Havana Cigar Lounge.
I believe it goes down, I already saw it.
Here you are. Again, in regards to the smoking cigarettes, what you were talking about, it would be perfectly legal, but it would be up to us not to allow somebody to smoke cigarettes in the establishment, because we do not sell cigarettes. You're not going to bring in something from the outside. It's almost like bringing food to a restaurant and sitting there and eating it. You did not buy it there. You bought it from somewhere else.
So if someone brought their own cigar, can they smoke their own cigar in there? Or is it more-
Technically, no. You could only purchase stuff in the store and sit down and enjoy it there. So you could only smoke what you purchase in the store. That way we could actually control what's sold and what's smoked inside the store itself. It's going to be completely a cigar lounge with nothing else in there. We will not sell alcohol. We will not sell hookah. We will not sell vape. We're not even in that business. We already have 2 stores already with the same exact setup. We do not deal with that kind of business. We strictly cigar lounge.
These pictures are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
This is something they were planning on bringing to Homer Glen, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I live right down the street, so this is going to be my baby project.
You're a Homer Glen resident as well?
Right on the corner right here of Orland Park on Wilcook Road. Does anybody have any more questions for me?
Where are the other two offices that you have right now?
One is in Hyde Park Cigars, and one is on 6416 Lehigh, like Devon and Central.
Are these pictures taken from one of those locations?
No, this is the actual site plan for this location right here. We try to upgrade every time we go into a new location, and this is what it's going to look like.
Except for the alcohol.
Yeah, there's no alcohol. I mean, this is a picture taken off internet from another store.
I see. 'Cause
So,
I see
but
alcohol.
we will not have alcohol in them.
Is this a membership club? Do people pay a membership fee to belong to?
Some, if they wanted to, absolutely, it would be an elite membership group. And, but at the same time, everybody's welcome to come in and buy a cigar and still have
Their own
a
private
cigar.
locker storage for?
Absolutely.
Things they buy.
I mean, I'm for it. I mean, I like it. I don't smoke cigars, sorry, but I like it. I like the idea.
I think what Mike needs is direction, and
Yeah,
we're here how to.
We're kind of getting off tangent onto a specific property, and
Right.
the purpose really tonight was to get feedback village-wide
Right.
on a policy that would not only apply to this business, but for all businesses similar to that. And the question is, is the definition of smoking lounge acceptable? Or what I'm hearing is for sure to strike hookah bars and hookah cafes, but allow the other, cigarettes, if a pipe lounge wanted to come in. I don't know if there is such a thing. But
No, I would say
I think
just
we're directing the cigar zone.
I would say just for cigars. No cigarettes,
And this is a
no,
trial.
Yeah,
No vapes,
no vapes, no pipes, no.
So-
I even like the idea of people not bringing their own cigars, only because, let's face it, some people put other things in cigars and make their own. So I don't know what people would be smoking in there.
Our clientele is on average about maybe 43 years of age. That's an average age for a cigar smoker. That doesn't really happen.
Okay.
But at the same time, to guarantee it, they will not be able to smoke anything they did not purchase from us.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, what's the point?
Well, we can certainly craft the definition based on the feedback tonight, and it'll come back to you it'll go through the planning commission and back to you for final vote. When we bring the text amendment to the ordinance, what we'll do is we'll update the use table in the zoning ordinance to specifically list smoking lounges as a special use. And that was, the next question would be, which, across the board, all C1, C2, C3, and I1, all 4 of those zoning districts has a special use.
Well, we don't need to go that far right now because we want to see if this works out in the first place. I mean, this is our test. This is our first one coming in.
We need to show where it's
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah, we
We don't
need to-
have books right now at all.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said you leave it on C1 and don't change anything else from there. Where that building right now is in a C1. Let's see what happens.
Is that a C1 or C2?
This one is C1, this happens to be C1.
Because those are the ones that are closer to the neighborhoods, the C1s. Right.
In some cases, even C2 and C3 are close in neighborhoods, so it's kind of all over the board. But, we can always, if you're only wanting it for a specific location or a specific, I'm looking kind of village-wide.
Right.
So I want to know, is it the next person that comes along, we want to have clarity. Is it allowed in any C1 or in any C2 or C3 as a special, obviously as a special use? And do you want any kind of distance or separation requirements? Because you could potentially, what happens if there's some vacancies and you get 2 or 3 of them that are congregating in the same shopping center?
Well, if you have a shopping center, it's not a standalone building.
Or a good example would be like if there were multiple outlot buildings, let's say, in close proximity. So what I'm hearing is a little unclear. I want to
Can I
make
ask a
sure.
question? Does the ordinance say right now that anybody can open up a shop and smoke anything
The ordinance is silent, so we've not, the moratorium is our timeout to basically say we can't issue any new business, any tobacco licenses right now for a new use coming in. The current tobacco retailers that are out there, they can get their renewals of their annual tobacco permit, but they can't expand or move to some other new location because of this timeout or moratorium for us to look at the zoning ordinance and see how we can update it.
Well, that's why I'm
So-
trying to say, this is a trial basis.
I think what George is trying to say is, can we just leave it the way it is and do something special for him for this time being, just to try it? I think that's what he's saying.
If it's in C1, you already have a classification of where it can be done.
It's not there yet. This is a
That's
new-
what I'm saying, we can
new
leave it at
business.
C1.
So you want it just restricted to C1? Yes.
For right now, yes, we want to restrict it to
C1's the
C1.
neighborhood retail, and the other more intense zoning districts, you don't want to allow it?
We don't know yet,
Just
that's
for
what we
right now,
want
just
to,
C1.
just leave it at C1. Let's see how it works out, because I don't want to put in 30 of them in there, and it just brings in, it just causes problems. So let's leave it at C1.
Bring it in as C1.
Correct. And we'll use this as a trial basis on this to see how it works out. If it works out, there's no headaches, there's no problems, then we can discuss adding or changing some of the classification.
This would effectively lift the moratorium, correct, to do this?
It would not lift the moratorium. The moratorium was extended through July 8th.
Okay.
And I would imagine, with going through the plan commission, first of all, I'd have to, going through the process of amending the zoning ordinance takes about 8 weeks. There's a public hearing at the plan commission, then it comes to you.
Okay.
And then the individual application that would have to come in for this gentleman or any other gentleman in C1 would take 8 weeks to come through. So by that time, the moratorium would be lifted. They would have to go through a tenant build-out, building permit. So it won't, I think the moratorium is perfect, the way it's going to expire in July, first week of July. So we can do that. I mean, we'll just then have to bring back another amendment, see how things go. But, I guess my argument would be if we're going to allow it, amend our zoning ordinance to allow us a special use process in our C1 district, I don't know why we wouldn't just allow it in the other more intense commercial zoning districts, but I'll do what you're directing me to do.
Right, because he would just have to go through this whole process again to add on
Right, it's a
C2
special
and
use.
C3. And it's a special use anyways.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of control with it being a special use, so you could
Right.
say C1, C2, and
Right,
C3.
because, if
You're ultimately, you don't need to give it, if somebody comes in with a C2, you're right, you could say, no, we don't think that's a proper.
Yeah, you're gonna see them, they're gonna have to come through the review process as a
So
special use.
put it in there now so that if somebody
don't have to
comes
go
up
through
again,
this.
right,
Yeah.
another 16 weeks.
Right, and we still have the ability to say no.
Yes.
Correct.
Do you, of the 4 districts we identified, C1, neighborhood commercial, C2, general, or commercial, and C3 is general business. Do you want I1 industrial as well?
I thought about that after we talked about it. And that could probably be a little bit more unsafe, putting a smoking lounge in.
We don't have a lot of,
Right.
I brought the zoning map in case anyone wanted to reference it. We don't have a lot of I1 industrial
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
village
we
at all.
just leave it off.
C1 too.
We've got Anaco Industrial,
Right.
and we've got a few other standalone industrial sites. that are
Or
vacant.
shops and things like that, I just think it was a good idea.
And typically, those pre-existing industrial areas were not parked or designed for retail parking.
Right.
So
So leave it at C1 too, right?
So C1, C2, C3
Correct.
Special use.
as a special use. Very
And
good.
then was number 3 answered? I know we got 1 and 2, is number 3 answered?
Yes,
Third
number 3, just to remind everyone, was, so we answered the question about the 2 definitions. I take it there are no issues with smoke shops being basically the retail uses. And by the way, in that definition for retail, I may add a suggestion or in the definition that comes back to you, that we not allow mixing. A lot of these vaping shops have canisters of liquids that basically what it is you buy an electric device, a vaporizer, and then you add the liquid to it and it heats it up. There's a heating element. It heats the liquid and turns it into a vapor that you would inhale. And a lot of these shops are mixing these things. And some towns in California that I've researched are they're calling that industrial because they're manufacturing things on site. This would only, our definition would only allow prepackaged items that you go in, you buy it, like our current tobacco shops. You go in, you buy it, there's no sampling of flavors or anything, there's no bar counter where you can sit there and smoke different, or inhale different flavors. And it's dangerous for the nicotine the liquid nicotine that's going in these that are flavored. It's a health hazard in some cases for not only the person ingesting it possibly, there's mixed research on that right now, but the person handling and doing the mixing. The nicotine the liquid can be absorbed into the skin. So our retail definition may tighten that up a bit and not allow the on-site mixing of chemicals.
Does that include rolling cigars? You don't have anybody rolling cigars?
We do not manufacture at the shop. But that would be manufacturing of liquid, and retail shops should not be able to do that.
It becomes a hazard. Again, a lot of the research is California because they're, I guess, health-wise and on the leading edge of this argument. And I didn't want to get into kind of the health discussion because these vapors, some people say it's a gateway to smoking, others say no, it's a way to not smoke. So there's a whole side argument that I want to focus mainly on the zoning ordinance. And the third question you brought up was, does the board wish to make, basically you did answer that question.
Right. Okay.
So
I just want to make sure you have everything.
I think I have pretty clear direction on bringing this back to you as a text amendment.
Okay.
And then on the heels of whatever does ultimately get adopted by the village board and go to the plan commission, any applicant could bring in then a petition as a special use, which you would look at individually. And you could place conditions on it as a special use.
Will those conditions include whatever else about the retail he's selling, like cigar cutters? Is that what?
Well, the ordinance is not going to restrict, because that would be, if you're zone C1,
right,
you can sell retail items. And a lot of these cigar lounges will have things that are for retail sale, as long as it's a legal item and it's not on our list of paraphernalia, which is in our other ordinance. Then it would be perfectly legal to sell those items as a component of the lounge.
Okay.
I have a question for our lawyer. When you mentioned freestanding buildings, that means that shop or that lounge, no other, because I think the building that I'm thinking of used to have, there was two offices, 2 stores there. So a freestanding building, he would have to be the only one.
Only tenant.
You can even take and say freestanding single user, if you wanted to.
Well, we have our own local, there's the Spokane, Illinois Act passed in 08, and then the village in 08 passed its own indoor air quality ordinance, which kind of was they were thinking ahead because it covers the alternative other smoking emissions. There are also building code considerations, filters and things that can be put on the units that are required.
The fire department would also follow up on that too, so.
Very good. Thank you for the feedback, and it really helps me to not spend a lot of time bring this back through the process so you know what you're voting on in advance.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
Mayor, I just wanted to have a brief discussion with the other trustees regarding early voting. I was at a meeting on Monday night where it came up that obviously this is going to be a huge election, a large turnout, and it'll be different now that we're right next door to the township. The township offers early voting. We've always offered early voting. It's a little strange being next door to each other, but that being said, picking one or the other doesn't really work either, because I don't think that the township is big enough facility to accommodate all of the people that we would have, and that's why you have those numbers here that show you how many people actually early voted between the two, which is right around 2,000 every year, if not more. Then having it at the Village of Homer Glen's office and not at the township, consolidating there really doesn't work either, because somebody who lives in Lockport who votes at Homer, at the township, is more than likely going to come to the village of Homer Glen to vote. So I was just wanting to look for, you know, what our thoughts were so that the clerk can work with the county and get that set up. I really think we definitely need to offer Saturday hours. There's so many people who can't vote between 6:30 and 6:30 because they're getting on the train at 6:30 and they're getting off the train at 6:30. So we definitely need to add Saturdays in my own community, and I just wanted to.
When we did Saturdays in the primary, we had as many people on that final Saturday in 3 hours as we had the entire day on Friday. So I agree.
So you could even, if you wanted to, you could even make it, you know, off, take it, like, take Tuesdays and Thursdays off and add an all-day Saturday thing.
Well,
So it would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all-day Saturday.
It seemed to pick up as the week went on.
Who mans the early voting on Saturday?
I did. Kathy Carrick helped me.
And how long did the early voting go on a Saturday?
Till noon. On the final day on Saturday, it only goes till noon because that's when the clerk does it. And we don't do it on that Monday before the election day because they need to pick up the equipment. We're not allowed to do it that Monday. We had people come in on that Monday, disappointed that they couldn't early vote, but we weren't actually allowed to do that by the book.
But early voting, the way it stands right now, is Monday through Saturday. They don't have it open on Sundays.
Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 has been for the general.
Right, and there's nothing on there about Saturdays?
No.
I only saw the 9 through.
This past primary was the first time we did Saturdays.
Because this, I agree with Trustee Rogers, this is probably the biggest election that I would say. So, and you don't think combining the two would be good?
No, it doesn't work. I mean, the township is too small. I voted there in early voting and had to stand outside for an hour, and it's cold, and you have seniors, because they can only put so many people in there at the same time.
But we couldn't put the township in our village hall?
I don't think that, I mean, I don't know. I didn't do the due diligence portion of it, but I think if I'm a Lockport resident, I'm not gonna wanna go to village of Homer Glen to vote, and I don't know if they can.
I don't think they can.
No.
So, no, I don't think.
Well, why don't we
should
call into the, what county you find out?
Find out what?
How it would work, could someone from Lockport vote in there?
They can't.
They can't?
They can't, no. I mean, new
So-
residents can't come here. Homer residents vote, because we don't have a book
But
for
only
every.
all right, but as it
single-
stands right now for the township, it's only Homer residents too, Homer
No,
Township and
it's-
Homer Glen.
Lockport, because Homer Township is part of Lockport
Yeah.
and all of Homer Glen.
Actually, it's done all via computer now, and we don't put anybody within Will County. But I need to clarify with the county clerk if we can actually allow them to vote here. I am able to pull up their voter card and print it out and allow them to ballot. Yeah, that's new
Computer's
this
different. I
year.
just know in the years past,
Yeah.
because I had to help.
Right, for
we
early
weren't
voting,
allowed
and it's
to.
new this year. A lot of things changed for this year's election, but I need to clarify that with them before we say the township should close.
So then anybody from any town, it doesn't have to be
Anywhere in Will
Lockport, it
County.
could be, you know, Manuka, Mantino, it could be anywhere that can come here and vote.
And I believe that to be the case because I spoke with someone in Braidwood, and there weren't a lot of places out in the rural areas that were open on Saturday, and we were one of the few that were. So,
I think we should find that out
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
and then decide what.
Call Nancy Boots and she'll tell us what we can and what we can't do.
And what about as far as the hours? Saturdays?
I have no problem doing
Evenings.
Saturdays. They have a thing about what time on Saturday, because we have to be able to call in if there's a problem. We can't do evening hours, and Lindsay did do some, so I can mention that for the general.
Why don't we just find out what we can and cannot do through Nancy? And then, if it's possible, we can do it, you know, because it's a cost to the village, it's a cost to Homer Township, it's the employees that have to do it, so if we could mix them all in the same, it would definitely benefit everyone. And it would make it a lot easier for everyone. You've got enough room in the village hall,
Nice long hallway.
and you've got a much bigger building, so no one's stuck outside. So, let's talk to her and see, because I mean, there's voting districts in here that they combine together.
Yeah, I think as long as the township's included in on that dispute, because I don't know that they want to be not part of that decision.
No, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
no, we're
saying.
talking to them.
We'll ask them if they're up for it, and ask Nancy Woods if we can do what we're looking at.
Good news is we have plenty of time.
Yeah, it's not till November. Okay, anything else in new business? I need a motion to adjourn to go into executive session for
Litigation and personnel.
litigation and personnel.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.